Hello, and welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas. So, I was inspired to do this little mini series because I know that Christmas and the New Year can really be a challenging time in my own life. My grandfather died on Christmas Day, my dad's dad, when I was 15, and then my parents split up. So the rest of those following years were really quite challenging for me. And I used to feel like I didn't really belong at Christmas, like I didn't really have anywhere to go. I felt in between these two homes, but not really at home anywhere. I used to be very jealous of people. And then I even just went through a phase of just not even doing Christmas. And then I did a lot of work and realized it doesn't have to be anybody else's Christmas. I can do Christmas in the way that means something for me, and I can just accept myself where I am, accept that I'm good enough, accept that my choices are okay, that even if people around me are not that into Christmas, I can do Christmas the way that is right for me. And I still have parts of me that feel a lot of pressure to conform to what we think of as a normal Christmas. And yet it's not about that. We know that. And if you have any feelings about Jesus, like maybe you're really into Jesus, like I am, and maybe you're not, and anything in between, maybe you feel like it's, robbed the pagan meaning of solstice. And to a degree, I really feel that too. But I also really understand that this is one day of the year that nearly like a lot of people are in the same place. They're all having, they're in family homes, they're gathering together, and it's a place and a time that we can celebrate. And I definitely feel like it's the one day of the year where all bets are off. Like you can actually take the pressure off yourself. And as somebody that has had a lot of pressure on herself to show up and be the best person she can in a lot of ways and often failed, I will say that, and feeling like she's failed, it's like a time of reset and a pause before the new year begins. And I still use the feeling of the school holidays. A lot of people who went through the British school system, you have 2 weeks, and you just really need that time. We need more than that, right? The winter is a calm time. And yet our modern society doesn't really allow us that. So the premise of the 12 Days of Christmas is 12 tools that you can use really easily and really quickly in your life to bring more peace. Now, I feel like in my life, I've had a lot of blessings, but I've also had a lot of emotional challenges. And when I was growing up, I used to think because I was lucky and clever, and people used to always tell me, "Oh, you're so clever and you're so gifted and so talented," as if that would automatically mean that I should be happy. But actually, what it really meant is I had a lot of conflict because every choice that I'd make wouldn't be an easy choice from my heart. It was actually like I would overthink everything and have all these different influences, and for me also past life influences. So we have like our soul influence, our childhood influence, our cultural influence, and I really believe, and if you're into kind of healing and self-development, you'll probably know by now, you have your ancestral influences, because guess what, we're like half our dad and half our mum when we were a baby, as we were made. And all of those things can really create a lot of conflict, especially, say, for example, like if our parents even are quite different, because then one half of you is carrying one energy and one half of you is carrying another. And then we have our soul coming in, and it can really feel like a jumble, right? To see like what is the coherent like choice for me. And a lot of the times, it's not so much about, it's not about judging anybody or anything and any of the past that we've been through, or our parents and our ancestors have been through. But it's really about just acknowledging it and noticing it. And then because it's rising out of your subconscious, it starts becoming into peace. The peace starts coming because it's out, it's that getting it off your chest. So the 12 days of peace, really. Oh, the 12 days of Christmas, but it's the 12 days of peace, right? So I'm just going to give you tiny tools for you to help maybe like shift any energies that have come up over Christmas if you've had a lot of family things to deal with or a lot of pressure or felt anything, but also that you can take forward into the new year. Okay, I'm choking. I've got incense on and I can feel it on my chest there. I got always in the morning, light my candle, light my incense, my prayers, right? And then this is what there's a result of some prayers some weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this is an idea that I'm going to do. So the first day and the first gift of Christmas is the gift of prayer. So in any of the talks that I do, and many, many, many of my client sessions, what comes through, because I open, open a sacred space, and the gift, the wish that comes through from the angels and guides is to make prayer. And this doesn't mean that you have to get on your knees and kind of, oh, da, 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 like in a very kind of do a Christian sense. What it really is asking for help. It's us saying, okay, thank you. And I'll give you an example. Thank you, guys and angels, for helping me walk through this day with peace and ease. Thank you for showing me what is for the highest and best good. Thank you for helping me be of service. Yeah, this is something that I pray for every day so that I can put my energy to the best project in my life. Because when you start working with spirit, when you start asking to be of service, it's like spirit goes, okay, we're going to just take away all the kind of maybe human things that you might think you're going to do. And you get given these inspirations, okay? And everyone has inspiration. We know this. Everyone has ideas, right? And to me, this comes from a higher self. This is like spirit nudging us on. And I have quite a lot of those. So for me, I have spent years in the past being like, oh my God, there's so many things I have to do. And actually there's all an order. And actually the card I pulled for myself this morning was the ray of harmony and divine order. Did I see that? The ray of order, yeah, the 80, right? Because there's a time and a place for everything. It's like there's a time to eat, there's a time to rest, there's a time to make love, there's a time to read, and if you're in alignment with that, you just follow the next arising thing. You're not trying to do it all at once, okay? And this is the same for Christmas, this is the same for building a house, whatever it is, there's a time and there's an order to it all. So you can make a prayer about anything, and you're really opening the door for assistance, wisdom. It might be financial assistance that you need. Here's a funny prayer that I made the other day. Okay, I came to my bank, and I have quite a few different banks because accounts because I save in some, and I've got a bank that I can receive my Amazon income because my regular account it doesn't marry up with Amazon, right? Because I use Triodos, which is an ethical bank. And I've got a credit card so that if I need something for my business, yada, yada, yada. And actually, I got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm kind of maxed out right now, now and I hadn't dealt with my thing. And I sat there and I had a tooth, a part of my tooth fell out the other day, and I was sat there joking with myself, thinking, I'm going to put my tooth here for the tooth fairy, right? And I was just laughing because that's what people do, right? If you're a kid, you put it out and your mum gives you money. And in the morning, the next morning, who would be my mother-in-law, okay, if I was married to my partner, she came round, and she doesn't come round very often. And she came round and she sat down, and we were talking about all sorts of things. And suddenly she said, oh, I think I'd like to buy two of your books. Have you got any in stock? So if you're wondering what my book is, it's Who Called You Crazy Having a Spiritual Awakening. And she's already read the book twice on her phone, right? She's got a digital copy. She bought it when it came out because you can buy it on a Kindle. And I was sat there going, oh, yeah, yeah, I have. Yeah, great. Okay, yeah, amazing. How lovely. She wants to gift the book on, she really, really likes this book. She says it's so easy to read. Da, 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 da. And she just put the money on the table, and it's not a lot, but it was like, oh, and it literally, I looked and I'd misplaced this piece of tooth. And I was like, well, obviously it's not the tooth fairy, because I don't really believe that I believe in fairies, but I don't know that there's actually a tooth fairy per se, because usually it's our adult, it's our parents, right? And the piece of tooth was literally right where she put the money. Literally, like there's the tooth and there's the money. And I was just like, you couldn't make it up. Because literally that morning I'd been sat there going, oh, this is a bit awkward. I'm gonna have to do some shuffling here because I'm, a bit haven't worked out my finances very well. And I did really laugh. And this is how prayer can work. Literally, that prayer, she comes over, here's some money for you and I don't need something, right, over Christmas. I have a lot of food in, I have petrol in the car, I'm very rich in a lot of ways. I just didn't do that thing. So the thing is, prayers can be answered in the ways that you just can't even comprehend it because we live in a really magical world and spirit is always listening. Angels talk to each other. So like in even if you don't believe in angels, okay, this works telepathically. So I've had it where I'm again back against the wall and thinking, oh crumbs, I could really do with a little bit of money. I'm in a stretch. And I'll either have a client literally just come out of the blue and say, oh, can I have a session? Because I have quite a lot of people that just come to me when they just need to sort something out in their head. And I just hold space for them. Or I have my mum just randomly go, hey, Caroline, do you want some money? I'm just like, okay, yeah, thank you very much. And many years ago, I actually had a tarot reading from a friend of mine who said, you're going to have a woman supporting you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. He's like, financially, you're like a queen. You don't really have to deal with money. You just do what you do, and you have this woman supporting you. And it's my mum. And at that time, it didn't really make sense. But, we were very fractious when I was growing up. But since I've been writing and doing the work in my soul work, if you like, she's really supported me. And for many years, I really had like the aesthetic energy inside in me. Like I didn't want to deal with money. I just wanted to, I kind of would wished I would live on an ashram, right? But I didn't have the courage to go to India, whatever. Or it just didn't feel like it. There wasn't a true calling, right? I believe I've lived in India in other lives. So it just didn't happen for me when I was younger to go and live in an ashram. And you know, it's like if you live in a certain way, you're really focused on your service, and yet you may not be grounded in the world enough to like really, really look at business and understand that. And it's taken me years to really have to shift my inner world in order to do that. So coming back to prayer, you know, a lot of us can struggle with money, especially if you're creative or spiritual. You probably had lives where it was, you didn't have money if you were spiritual. You went to a monastery, and you gave up worldly goods, right? And that energy carries over. Okay, this is not like oh, we're bad people because we don't have money tendencies, right? It's because we would have lived lives where it just wasn't a thing that we dealt with, right? And tribal lives, like who deals with money in tribes, right? So make your prayer. You can make a prayer to retreat to your higher self, to guardians of your home. You can make prayers to the rivers, to the lakes, the mountains. There are so many nature beings. There are dragons, there are unicorns, there are ascended masters. These are my favorite guys. Ascended masters and angels, right? Be kind, be courteous to them, give thanks because they're always wanting to help us. It's their job. It's like we have spirit guides and they're waiting and they will help us. There's going to be an amount that we will have agreed that they're going to help us. But overall, these beings respect free will. If they work fully in the light, they respect our free will. They will not interrupt us like humans will. Oh, you really should do this. Oh, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do this for you. That they don't do that. They're going to be waiting and they're literally going to be respecting the free will of you to say, I really want to help. So here's a prayer I'm going to make for Christmas, and then we're going to say goodbye for the day. So, great Mother, Father God, creator of all that is, source of all life, thank you so much for the blessings in our life. Thank you so much for supporting us in our daily lives. Thank you for showing us what is the best way we can show up. How can we make the most of our lives and the blessings in our lives, the gifts that we have, that we've gathered through many lives. Thank you for showing us who we really are beneath the fears and the illusions and the multitude of ego patterns that we all can carry at times. Thank you for helping us show up, be kind to ourselves, be compassionate to ourselves, forgive ourselves for things that we've done that we may not be proud of, so that we can keep showing up in the world and release all of the bondages that we've carried for eons on earth. Thank you for helping everyone on earth at this time with all that they need, the support that they need, the home, the warmth, the food, the fulfilling work, the joy, the community, the friends, and the family. Thank you for peace on earth for all the beings of the earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. God, I could have kept on going with that. Prayer, once you go into it, you start realizing how much you want to give. It's about you're asking that you can give in a sense. Yeah. So when I asked to be in alignment, to be of service, it's because when I was a kid, I was like, look at the world, people are really suffering. I mean, I was suffering in my own way, but like I knew that I was not suffering in the way that a lot of people were. And, you can say that's all of our free will. We have pre-life choices before we incarnate. I fully believe that. I've always believed that. But you still don't want to see people suffer. But it's also about thank you, angels, high self, God, for helping us be in our own centers so that we don't have to suffer because other people are suffering. And that is something that I have definitely done in my life. It's like, well, I can't have good things. I can't enjoy myself because I feel like I've done bad things. And also because look at all the world, like the world is suffering. Like, why should I have and other people don't? And that doesn't help. Like, just because if I suffer more, am I going to help the person that's suffering over there? No, not at all, because you've got nothing to, you've got nothing to extend to them. So thank you. You can also ask for clarity. Like one of the teachings that I work with in the Coming to Peace series is asking for help and clarity about a situation. Okay, so it might not be that you need something, but you might need, thank you for clarity about the job that I want to apply for. Thank you for helping me have clarity in my business or in my relationship. Thank you for helping me resolve this situation with people that I have, in my life. So you can ask for help with anything. And it will come. Trust that it will come. Okay. So that's my first gift of Christmas. And hopefully that will bring you a lot more peace. And if you make a practice of prayer, I guarantee you your life will change beyond your dreams. I literally guarantee it. It just works. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. I wish you so much love, and I will see you for day 2. Bye for now.